He graduated from the University of Edinburgh, and then he had an actually interesting and somewhat checkered work history, which I didn't go into, but I've always liked your career as a swineherd in France. Part of his life.
It was a very short career, I have to say. I mean, it was a short career because it was attached to a vineyard.
Right.
And when we trod the grapes, we were supposed to give the skin and the pips to the pigs because it's nutritious. But we were kind of lazy and a bit drunk, and we left it a couple of days, and it started fermenting. So when we gave it to the pigs, they got drunk. And one of them didn't make it. One of them died of alcoholic poisoning. So that was the end of my career as a swineherd. I killed a pig.
You were clearly much better suited to writing. Ian has won 4 daggers from the Crime Writers Association, of which he has been president. Includes the Gold Dagger and the Diamond Dagger. The Diamond Dagger is, I've always thought of as sort of a lifetime achievement award, but you were what, like 41 when they gave it to you? So do you think it was on your potential or your past or both?
I think they were trying to tell me to go away.
He's also won the Mystery Writers of America Edgar Award and a number of fellowships and academic honoraries and an OBE for services to literature. And those of you who may not have looked that part up, Ian was a Fulbright recipient, which brought him to the United States from Scotland to write for purposes of writing a novel.
1992. I mean, what they said was you had to come for a minimum of 6 months, maximum 9 months, and you just had to get to know the country. And they gave you $20,000. It's a lot of money back then.
It was.
So we flew into Seattle. We bought a VW bus, secondhand, and we just drove around the States for 6 months with our 3-month-old son, Jack. So he was 3 months old at the beginning, 9 months old at the end, which is why I still call nappies diapers, because for 6 months we were buying diapers.
Ruined your lingo, didn't it? You know, there really is a difference between Britspeak, although I shouldn't say Britspeak if you're Scottish these days. Can I actually? Is that still okay?
I always say there's a difference between English and English. Yeah, you know. Some of the biggest challenges I have with my translation is from English into English.
I can easily believe that, and the punctuation is different too. But anyway, those are the highlights of my introduction. I'm sure if you have questions, Ian will be happy to answer them at the end of his talk. I'm going to sneak over here to my perfectly wonderful seat. It's all yours.
And why is the Warren Ellis book?
We're going to give it away.
Oh, okay. I've read it. It's good.
At the end.
Yeah, it's very strange but good.
It's also your publisher, so I was trying to be
very good.
A team player.
Excellent. Well done. Thanks. Thanks very much. Nice to be back. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the return of Rebus, I suppose, to explain why I brought him back, why I wrote the new book. But to do all of that, I really need to tell you the story of a friendship. Some of you will know that in the Rebus novels, Rebus is a huge music fan. There's a really good reason for that. I am a huge music fan, and like most mystery writers I know, I'm also a frustrated rock star. You know, I would much rather be in a band, a successful band, than be a writer. And I tried it when I was 19. I was in a band called the Dancing Pigs. We were the second best punk band in Fife. There were exactly 2 punk bands in Fife. And even if it had only been 1, we would still have been the second best. But writing the books has allowed me to get to know some musicians and to write about music and so on. Well, in one of the Rebus novels, and I forget which one, Rebus sits down and listens to an album by a guy called Jackie Leavin. I don't know how I came across this guy's music. He's Scottish, singer-songwriter, but I knew that Rebus would like it. It's very muscular lyrics, a lot of Celtic mythology in there. He writes well about hard men, men who can't show their emotions, men who fall in and out of love. I thought, okay, Rebus would like this. Good guitar playing, good lyrics. So in one of the books, Rebus is listening to Jackie Leavin. And what I didn't know was Jackie was a fan of the books. So he's on tour somewhere in Scandinavia. He's on an airplane. He reads the book and he goes, bloody hell, that's me. So he got in touch with my publisher when he got back to the UK, and my publisher put us in touch with each other. We got to meet. I went to a couple of his gigs. We got on great. Comes from the same part of Scotland as me, very similar background, really lovely guy, great storyteller, great raconteur. So then he said to me one day, Ian, I've been invited to do this concert in Glasgow, a big concert as part of the Celtic Connections Festival. Would you like to come along and maybe read something out from one of your books. And I said, well, wait a minute, let's do something a bit more thematic. You know, I know your lyrics really well and your songs really well. Why don't I write a short story that will pick up on some of your themes? And then you write some new songs to reflect on that story, and we'll do it as a performance piece. So he thought that sounded great. So I wrote a story called Jackie Leavin Said, and it was about 40 minutes long, and we broke it up into 10-minute sections, and he did a couple of songs in between each part. Went down really well. Went down really well. We were invited to do it again at the Edinburgh Festival, and by this time music company, a record company, were interested in recording it. So we recorded that session, and one of his songs he wrote was called The Haunting of John Rebus. So we recorded the event in Edinburgh, came out as an album, which was exciting for me, right? The frustrated rock star, because I could go into a record store, and there I was for a week or two. I was in this record store. On the back of that, we went on tour together, which was hilarious. I mean, I've toured, but not with a musician before. He phoned me up. He said, "Ian, what do you want on your rider?" I said, "What's a rider?" He said, "It's a list of your stuff you need backstage in the green room before you go on to perform." He said, whiskey, gin, vodka, clean towels, a masseuse, a pet llama, blue M&Ms, anything you want, man. I said, I'll leave that to you. I mean, I'm a writer. We don't get that kind of treatment. We get a bottle of water and we're quite happy usually. No llamas behind this store. This was a mistake, because the first event we did was in London at the Royal Festival Hall, and we're sitting in the green room backstage, dressing room, and this big burly guy kicks in the door and goes, "Which one of you buggers ordered a haggis?" Jackie points to me. So his rider has had in it stuff like, bottle of whiskey, bottle of gin, bottle of vodka, mixers, sandwiches, towels, and Mr. Rankin, one haggis. So that whole tour, every tour, someone would turn up and go, "Who ordered it?" It's so hard to find haggis outside Scotland. Great guy. So flash forward now to October, November 2011, and I'm starting to think about the next book, which would be this book, the new book. And Jackie and I are doing an event together in Belfast, but he's taken ill. He can't attend at short notice. So when I get back to Edinburgh, I phone up his manager and I say, what's up? He said, he's got about 3 days to live. He had cancer. He hadn't told anybody about this. He'd done what a lot of working class Scottish guys would do. He just, when he was told, he just went out, bought a bottle of whiskey, and went for a long walk. So he kind of died as he lived, really, in his own terms. So I was playing a lot of his music as I was sort of plotting this book and thinking about the theme of this book and the various themes and stuff. And I was listening to one of his songs, and the refrain, the chorus, seemed to me to go, "I was standing in another man's grave. I was standing in another man's grave." I thought, that's a really interesting title for a book. Make a really good title. Then I went and checked the lyric sheet, and it was actually, I was mishearing it. All my life I've been mishearing lyrics. And it was